Good evening, everyone. Thank you again so much for tuning in to the Real Deal Fam Network. Again, I'm Andre. This is my beautiful wife, Essie.
Yes, you know who it is.
The boss, a.k.a. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you would, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell. You want to be first to get it hot off the presses. And also hit that like and share button, if you will.
Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah. We are highly, highly appreciated. With all that being said, we would like to dive into tonight's topic. And it is why some blacks had a problem or issue with this year's NFL Super Bowl halftime show.
Is it some? Most of the ones I know.
Well, I just didn't want to overgeneralize and say all.
Okay. Nah, not all, no all. But many, most, from my perspective, from the people I know.
Right. A lot of black people had different issues with the halftime show. Mm. Did you have any in particular you could think of, honey?
Honey, I had a whole plethora, so let's just get started with number
all
one.
Right. Well, first of all, I think the number one issue is that most black people are on strike or boycotting the NFL as a whole. So that was the first issue, I think.
Yeah, what's the reason for that? It's not like it can't be solved easily.
Well, I think the reason is because when they first came out, when they, I guess, introduced Jay-Z as the new, I guess, director or so forth of putting together the acts for the halftime show. Mm-hmm. At the same time, they didn't roll out a particular platform of basically of how they was going to bridge the gap between the police violence on African Americans.
So, right. So if you're not familiar with it, there's an issue with the kneeling and Colin Kaepernick standing up for black people when it comes to police brutality. So either way you go, whatever side of the fence it is, there was no resolution. So that was the reason Jay-Z was supposed to be brought in to help bridge the gap. Well, the bridge never showed up, and that was way back months and months and months and months ago. And they still went on with the halftime show without even mentioning a resolution.
Right. I think they came out with something in terms of, I can't be for certain, but something about jerseys or something.
That was for monetary gain for somebody in particular. But, I mean, they donated small amounts to various charities with nothing to show for it. We didn't hear anything else about it. The easiest solution would have just been to come up with the NFL, their own charity that helps to focus on bridging the gaps between police and black communities. That would have been the easiest solution.
Very, very easy, because we all know that entities the size of the NFL do carry a certain amount of influence, whether it's politically or otherwise. And if they really had an agenda to push and tried to go out and sincerely make a difference, I think they can. I think if you can get outside of the commercial aspect of it, the financial aspect of it, and get into more the human aspect of it, then I think they could really make a difference. But just telling us something and entertaining us with a halftime show.
I mean, entertainment over police brutality. I mean, we still on strike, bruh.
Yeah, we're kind of over that. That wasn't a good deal. So you can roll out whoever you want to during the halftime show. We need to see some real tangibles and something that's going to really lead to some change that's sorely needed.
Right. It's not like black people don't love their country. That's the reason they're fighting. They love the country, and they want to stand for the flag and have all the same love and you know, all the same hopes and desires as everybody else that are you know, realized, to come to fruition, not just constantly having hope. And so that's the thing. We need steps in progress. We need a resolution.
Right. You can't say we in our feelings. And I think we got a right to be. But moving on from that particular point, but that is a very, very important key issue. But I think a lot of people also feel in a certain type of way because it wasn't publicized that they invited or asked any of the local artists to perform at the Super Bowl, or at least be a part of the festivities.
So yeah, the Super Bowl's in Miami, and you have a lot of African American and Black superstars and headliners that would have liked to ask. Now they can't cross the picket line, but at least you extend the effort or the gesture of asking them. Let it be known they denied, and then you moved on. But as far as we're concerned, that never happened. And they say from out their mouths, a lot of them say that they never got asked or inquired upon. So,
right, and it's a very simple solution. I think football is embedded in the American culture, and especially in the African American culture. We tend to play the sport often when we're young, and we grow into the sport, and everybody's family takes pride in competing in the sport. And so for us to be able to boycott something like that, that means there's something really deep going on, and not to participate in the festivities. But I think they didn't do a good enough job. I'm not saying, I don't know, I don't have an inside track on whether they asked or invited.
They didn't make it known to the public that they did that. So,
Right, and so that could leave people feeling a little bit bitter. We haven't, you got artists down there such as Luke and Rick Ross and various other people that's been well-established artists that we didn't see, and it would have been nice to see them on the stage. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. They might have been appropriate, but
well, in terms of appropriate, that's another thing. I mean, you did have a stripper pole as part of the festivities.
It's like J-Lo was trying to pub her last movie. I mean, that's not appropriate. My kids was watching and stuff. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the movie Hustlers. So.
And they kept getting close-ups of the crotch, the booty crotch. I mean, goodness.
Yeah, so all that left people with a little bit sour taste in their mouth in terms of African Americans. And also, I think, speaking of J-Lo, I think some people have an issue with that. Her music career was kind of built off a lot of other artists in terms of the music, in terms of the vocals and things of that nature. And there wasn't any kind of homage. It would have been nice to at least have somebody like Ashanti or somebody on the stage to do a little something. You think?
Ashanti was on the stage. They've voiced her music over J-Lo's.
Yeah. Actually, she was on the stage.
I know. If you don't know, Ashanti sang several of J-Lo's hits. Yeah, you go listen to you hear Ashanti's voice as J-Lo's mouthing the words too, and a lot of other black women have been the lead vocals singing, and they just track over J-Lo's words and stuff over the music. So she never pays homage to black women or anything. It seems like she's in I guess you want to say the Kardashian one where you don't appreciate, you just take and then toss off.
What we term a knockoff. Yeah, but I mean, J-Lo she is a very talented individual in her own right. But
her dancers were not diverse at all.
No,
Shakira stole the show, and all her stuff was diverse. The dancers,
right? And I think what J-Lo does is somewhat commonplace in the industry. I don't know if I would consider J-Lo like a singer or anything like that. She's more of an entertainer.
Well, J-Lo can go between the lines, and so in our minds, it's as though she crossed the picket line. But then, when she wants to be a Latina, she's standing up for the Latinas. But and then when she wants to be in the romantic comedies, and she could flip in it to be any size.
Right. Shapeshifter.
Yeah, but if you supposed to be you rocking with mostly African American music, or you depend on our producers, you depend on our vocal people, you depend on people to put your choreography together. She was on Living Color getting her start together.
Yes.
I mean, you should at least give some respect.
Right. If you come up off the culture, all we would like is a little bit of recognition. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's well deserved. Now
she's almost like Evelyn Lozada, where she's like claiming, but ain't really. Yeah, reaping the benefits, but then talking mess.
Right. That's pretty low. But with that being said, me personally, I thought Shakira stole the show. I thought she was the headliner.
And she didn't cross picket lines. I mean, she's from another country.
No, and then as far as I know, her stuff is more original to who she is.
She was more diverse with her dancers and everything. She carried the show. She knocked it right.
Yeah, she did. And it wasn't J-Lo did a horrible job either. For her age, she did a great job.
For her age. Well, she was the draw. I mean, out of Shakira, most Americans don't really know. You know Shakira, but you don't know her. Like when she was up there singing the music and stuff in Spanish, you know, you don't really know what she's talking about. Most Americans don't.
Right, and so that's another issue we typically have. Sometimes you just can't be authentic and keep it real. I mean, that's not J-Lo is definitely probably more known than her, but if Shakira did her thing and she did most of the performing, I think she deserves some credit as well. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think most people think that she carried the performance. Yeah. She outperformed J-Lo. And, girl, you had to start giving it up. You was all stiff.
Yeah. Now, in the future, if they want to try to win back the African-American support in a more tangible way, a more substantial way.
I don't know what the plans could be for next year. Who's going to be performing?
Well, I think they got to move beyond performing. We know we are entertainers. We don't need to be entertained. We need something more tangible. We need our people to start getting knocked upside the head and things of that nature. So if you can influence those things, if you can be genuine with that, because most of your product on the field is of that particular culture. So I would think it would be incumbent upon you to make sure they are taken care of, they are comfortable, they feel like you represent and you got their back. And all we'll do is produce for you. That's all we'll do. And that's just who we are. We're going to play ball, we're going to entertain, and we're going to do our thing. And
that was the other issue, is the fact that there needs to be more integration with coaches and owners.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You got to break bread with us. You got to do everything. You just can't, I guess, continue to abuse the culture. And that's the only issue I think we have with J-Lo. If you just constantly taking from the culture but not giving anything back, after a while we're going to recognize, and then we ain't going to deal with you.
Disowned.
Yeah, so that's just it. And so some people was like, man, they did a fantastic job. It probably was the best halftime show I've ever seen. And that may be the case for those particular people.
They haven't lived long enough.
Right, but we have a little bit more deeper issues and a little bit more expectations that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. So don't look at it and say, oh, they hating. We ain't hating on nothing. Like we say, the people who were singing that music look like us, so I don't think we hating. So we just
real singers.
Yeah. But they did do their thing. I ain't going to take them from them. The dancing and the choreography, all that stuff was pretty good. I wouldn't take anything from them.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a momentous occasion for Latinos and Spanish speakers all over the world. So you got to give them that. Right. But J-Lo, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if her Spanish is that good.
Well. But like we say, we did enjoy just that part. We just tuned in just for the halftime show, just to see what it was about, and we thought it was decent. It's been pretty horrible recently, so I guess Jay-Z paid off a little bit in that respect. But the come at us like it was supposed to be for the community. I don't really think so. I think it was a money grab for everybody involved. We just hope in the future they go ahead and change that and be more sincere and authentic. What you think?
Let's talk about Jay-Z.
Well, I guess we'll have to leave it at that, because
we'll see next year. Or will we?
I don't think so. I think at this particular point, as for me, I don't know about anybody else, and I'm not trying to influence anybody else. I think that ship has sailed, and I enjoyed it in the past, but I don't think in the future it'll be something I'll be partaking in.
Unless we hear something different.
Yeah, and it better be substantial. Otherwise, no. Well, I'm used to the games. I'm checking out of that. But that was just our take on it from Andre and Esther. We thank y'all so much again for tuning in. If you could, don't forget, hit that subscribe button as well as the notifications, because we're constantly putting out new content.
Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up,
and
thumbs up.
Also hit the thumbs up and share the video with your friends. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. Everybody loves to hear a good take on something and get a different perspective. And just like we expect that from you guys, we would like you to do it also in the comments, so that we can also get an idea of how you guys think and how you guys feel about the topic. So please comment below. Until the next time, what you got to say, honey?
Black love.
All right. Thank y'all again. Till next time. Good night.